In order for our organization to maximize productivity, we must match the right people with the right jobs. Why? Because mismatched workers tend to have low job satisfaction, leading to absenteeism, high turnover, and lower levels of productivity than who those are matched effectively in their work. The first step to matching people to the right jobs is to determine what jobs we need to have performed and the qualifications needed to do the job description, and specifications. We need to start by showing how we design the flow of work and subsequently the jobs in our organizations. Workflows create the need for certain types of tasks to be performed within each part of the organization. Once we've identified those tasks, we determine how to connect those tasks into jobs, and we then design the resulting jobs in certain specific ways, depending on what our priorities are as an organization. Imagine that we're starting up a brand new company. The first thing we have to do is determine what we expect the organization to do. The way in which we put the organization together will depend on what we expect it to do, and that in turn will help determine the workflow. Workflow analysis is the tool that we use to identify what has to be done within the organization to produce a product or service. Workflow analysis is a bit different from some of the other things we do because we have to do it backward. The first thing we need to do is analyze the end result of the process of our expected organizational outputs. In other words, we need to know what the customer wants from us. So, how do we start workflow analysis? By looking at the end result. Once we identify the result we expect, then we can determine the steps or activities required to create the end result we've identified. Finally, based on the steps that we identify and the tasks that have to be performed, we can identify the inputs that are going to be necessary to carry out the steps and perform the tasks. Resource inputs include machines, resources such as tools, equipment, manufacturing machinery, and other machines that are used in completing work. Material, which are any physical resource like wood, metal, buildings, real estate, and so on that we use in production. Manpower, the people who are needed in a particular production process, both quantity and types. And finally, money, the capital that must be spent to perform our processes. These are the 4 large categories of resources that we use up in doing what we intend to do. Whenever we look at workflow analysis, we have to identify which of these 4 M's and how much of each we're using in a particular process. Workflow analysis almost always shows us some steps or jobs within the organization that can be combined, simplified, or eliminated. In some cases, workflow analysis will show that certain types of groups or self-managed work teams, rather than individual workers, should be the basic building blocks of our process. Does HR do all of this workflow analysis? No, the organization's line management is typically responsible for mapping out workflows. However, HR managers need to understand the process so that they can assist line managers in identifying the tasks and human inputs required to do those tasks, and so that they can design appropriate organizational systems such as training, development, and incentive compensation systems for the human resources who will be performing the tasks. This will keep people both motivated and efficient.